So, namaste, welcome to Satsang. So, Satsang is for the experiential realization of who we are, the direct seeing and being of who we are. And as Claire was just saying, we've just returned back from an amazing retreat we had in Spain. And at that retreat, there was a subject that came up that I really want to dive into today. It's very, excuse me, very direct. And some people asked me about it and asked if there was a satsang where we've talked about this. And I have in various satsangs, but never really as the main subject. So I wanted to really bring it forward today as the shortest shortcut for awakening possible ever, the shortest shortcut. And it's where our self-inquiry will take us to anyway, but maybe we can bring some more light to seeing who we really are. At retreat, we started with this premise, started from the premise that we are already free. And even if we only know that intellectually, we haven't had a direct seeing yet, you can still follow along with this and prove it to be true. Because satsang, like I said, is for experiencing what is true, not just reading about it from a scripture or hearing it from a teacher. We want to actually experience how free we already are, and that we're not the one actually stuck going around and around in and out of truth. And this is a subject that came up so strongly while we were in Spain, and I really wanted to spend some time looking at it here. So most people have eventually some kind of seeing and some kind of realization or momentary glimpse of what is really true, that we are awareness, consciousness, presence, silence, stillness. We are this moment, not someone in this moment. That we are formless, insubstantial, and timeless, deathless, all of that. And then we seem to go into some process with that of remembering and forgetting. So what I want to do today is show that we are already free, even through the remembering and forgetting part of it. The seeing the truth and then getting supposedly lost in illusion again. The getting it, losing it, finding it, losing it again, all of that stuff. Because it was perhaps one of the worst points in my awakening, even though I felt like I was almost there. It was perhaps one of the hardest places to hang out in. So let's see if we can shortcut that. Let's look at, first of all, what actually happens when we think we're actually lost in illusion again. And when we think we have a glimpse of awakening, of clarity, let's look at what that process is. So the body reflects back to us. Our body reflects back to us wherever our attention is. So we could say, for sake of clarity, there is, and this is obviously a two-dimensional, three-dimensional representation of something which is omnipresent. So it's really not going to work other than just for an analogy. Let's say here is the real self, the awareness. And then here is the body. And of course, again, all these are the same thing, but just for sake of explanation, here's the real self-awareness, I'm going to call it. And here's your body. And in between, in the middle, is something we call attention. So there's awareness, attention, body. And what we do usually is we have a glimpse of awakening, and that is really only where attention here in the middle turns around to look at you, the awareness. So we might go to a self-inquiry question, or it might be in deep meditation, or maybe just a spontaneous insight. Attention looks at awareness and says, wow, that's what I am. And when attention is looking at awareness, seeing a formlessness of awareness, the already completely free nature of awareness, the body reflects that, and the body says, oh, I really like that. That feels expansive and open and free and real. It feels very real. And it's a glimpse, a moment of seeing who we really are. But it's just an experience, right? Because the next thing that normally happens is that attention then goes back around to look at the mind, some thought. So between attention and body is the mind. And some juicy thought that pops up, usually something like, yeah, but you're not going to be able to keep this, or you're going to lose it. Or how do I live like this? How do I stay as awareness? Attention goes to this thought because this thought seems very important. And just a very active attention going away from you and towards the thought, the body reflects that too. And the body feels tight, contracted. We feel like we're stuck again. We feel lost. We feel like we've completely forgotten what we just saw. And there might be some negative emotion. And if attention stays on that thought long enough, we'll start to have some negative experience in our life. Emotion might be very strong. And we might really believe that we've actually lost who we are. So the real self, the attention, the mind, and the body. And again, ultimately, all is the same thing, but just for sake of explanation. What we do then is we identify with the experience. When attention is moving, we're going to have two different experiences. One of clarity in the body and mind, like, oh, I'm awake. How did I ever not see this before? And I can never lose this. It's totally the only thing that's real. There's nothing else in formlessness. And then 2 minutes later, or 2 seconds, if you're like me, it's gone. I've lost it, back in the pits of despair. Can't find it ever. What have I done wrong? These thoughts are popping up and attention goes to them. And the whole challenge here is that we think we are the attention. We identify as attention, not as awareness. We take a stand as I am attention, and I'm waking up, I'm seeing clearly, or I'm lost in illusion. That this movement of attention is me. And if we look at awareness for a moment, if we experience awareness, take a moment with me now to just experience what you really are. Awareness itself, or silence, or presence, whatever you want to call that which is real. Is it moving? Is it changing? Is it having experiences? And in fact, even awareness knows where attention is. Attention is watched by awareness, you. So if I ask you right now, where is your attention? It's probably really listening to these words, really trying to hear. And later attention might go off into thoughts, trying to think about what I'm saying. And you could tell me afterwards, well, my attention was just in love with thoughts for 10 minutes completely. So if we can come to recognize that the problems we think we have in awakening aren't ours, then we realize we're already free and can never not be free, never be bound. Attention is going through this cycle of finding it, losing it, finding it, losing it. And we think we have to stabilize this to keep attention always looking at awareness. We think that's our problem. I need to find a way to stay as the self, we say. And of course, I did this for 3 years or something, and it was horrible. Because the more we try to fix a problem that isn't ours, the more disturbed the mind and body feel, the more contracted our experience becomes, the more our outer world experience begins to reflect back to us that there's something we're not seeing clearly, and the harder we seem to try. So let me phrase this now from the awakened perspective, just to contrast so that you can perhaps see, again, this process from the other side. Here's me, the real self, and here's attention and mind and the body. Awareness, attention, mind, body. I, the awareness, know that I'm never changing at all. That there is only the real self. There is only awareness. That I am unmoving, unchanging, and that I am not having an experience. I can't experience anything because I can't separate myself into an experiencer and that which is experienced. So I know that wherever my attention goes means nothing to me, has no impact on me at all. So when attention's looking at me, the body feels great. When attention's looking at thoughts, the body feels not so good. But I remain unchanged, always. And as I see that this swinging backwards and forwards of attention doesn't affect me, it stops. And then there's just awareness and the body experiencing through the senses. Awareness is watching through the senses with no commentary going on. And there's no capacity to reference how the body feels or how the experience is going or how noisy the mind is as evidence of how I'm doing in my awakening. So if you really look at what identification is, it is only a movement of attention. We say, I'm identified with the body again. Okay, what does that actually mean? It means attention has gone to a thought that says, I am this body. Or a thought that says, I'm never going to wake up to the truth. Or a thought that says, I've lost it. And then later another thought says, I've got it back again. How do I keep it? How do I make sure that doesn't happen again? So just checking with me now that you can see, not with your physical eyes, but you can see attention. If you put your eyes, let your eyes rest on an object in the room that you're sitting in, you can see that attention also usually goes to that object. You can also see that if you're doing that and a thought pops up in your mind, what has this got to do with awakening? Says mind. Attention goes to that thought too. If suddenly there was a pain in your hand, attention would go straight to that pain sensation. If you suddenly got really blissed out, attention would go to the bliss immediately. And every single time, you would know where attention is. You are before attention even. You are before attention. Let's check again and see that awareness is already free. And the reason that we can't manage to stabilize attention to keep it looking at the awareness is because we don't have to. You never succeed in that. No awakened being has ever succeeded in stopping this swing. It's only swinging because we think it's our problem. So the moment I see I am the same, no matter where my attention is, it doesn't affect me, then this swinging stops. And there's only awareness then. There only ever was. We just thought there was something else to look at. So if you seem to be stuck in this cycle of trying to come back to the self over and over again, can we upgrade that to, let's see that the self is always here, awareness, and it's already always free. And if you really are willing to, even if something is confused by what I'm saying, or there's resistance, or the amount that you feel you have to do awakening, achieve it, will lead to some kind of confusion or fog. Maybe you can't even really hear what I'm saying right now. But just the intention to understand is enough, and not trying at all. Could the identification process be happening to something other than me? What if it's not me that's falling back into illusion and coming out of it again, and falling back and coming out and falling back? I'm watching, I'm aware of, I know that this process of in, out is going on inside me, in front of me, but not to me. And this is so important that if we see it just 1 or 2 times, all suffering ceases. All of our suffering at this point is because we're trying to bring attention and make it stay in one place. And we hear a teacher say, bring attention back to what is real. So we try to do that. And we have to do that until we realize even that we can't do. While there's a sense of a doer, we use that sense of a doer to bring attention back to what is real, so we can gain enough life force in the body to actually see, I'm already free, completely. Check in whichever way you like. Experience the silence now. The presence. Tuning into this moment itself, whichever name you want to call reality. It doesn't have a problem with identification, does it? It's already free. You are already free. We're just chasing around attention, trying to clean up attention's problems. So attention can go to the mind and the body feels terrible. Still, the awareness is the same. Attention can go to the awareness. The body feels amazing, light, expansive, open, free. Still, awareness is the same. So it's a stepping back from identifying even as attention. You are not the attention. It's moving on its own by intention. Intention to see who we really are brings the attention back more and more often to what is real. If you want a one-liner for this to kind of hopefully solidify and cement it in, the problem you're trying to fix is not yours. That's why it's not working to fix it, right? If your experience seems to be changing still, that can't be reality, right? You are the unchanging self. Awareness is constant, unchanging, always here, always free. It can't get attached. It can't move. It's everywhere. It can't believe a thought. Believing a thought is just attention going to that thought. That's all it is. Just the simple desire, just the simple intention to understand this and not trying hard at all, making no effort, as if just the intention, I want to understand this and live this, realize it. And as if you couldn't do anything about it, and it will happen. Awareness is omnipresent and infinite power. It is the source of the imaginary universe, in fact. Any simple desire that comes out of it, it has to be realized, has to come to fruition, has to happen. One more time, just for clarity. You are not attention. Attention is happening in front of you. The fluctuation of attention from what is real to what is unreal is not your problem. It really feels like my problem, but we have to be certain, has to be certain. I mean, if you could find a way to keep attention on the real, you would have done it by now, right? And we've tried really, really hard, or we think we have. So that was about as direct as I could say it. So hopefully it has fired something inside to come to some greater clarity that you are not in a process of becoming free, but already completely free, free of illusion. Illusion is just an imaginary thing that happens inside you, not to you. You can't fall into it. You can have an experience of seeming that you fall into it and come out of it again if you believe that you are the attention. The moment you see, I'm aware even of attention and what it's looking at, then there's instant recognition of that which is always free and has never identified. Identification is happening in the mind and in the attention. It's on the realm of the manifestation. It's in manifestation. The whole seeking and finding is in manifestation. It's not happening to the unmanifest awareness, which is always free. So I will open it up for questions, take up to 4 questions online. Do you want to read these first 2 questions that have come in here? Or maybe not. Maybe we'll do those after. Let me see if I can find them this way. So we've got 4 hands up there now. Okay, so this first question says, a lot of spiritual teachings suggest that we may come back after we die. I'm new to Helen as a teacher, but twice in her YouTube video, she mentions this as well. But if we're not the body, not the mind, and just pure consciousness or nothingness, what exactly is it that's supposed to be coming back? Much love. So blessed by her teachings. Thank you. So if we have unfulfilled desires inside before, as we exit this particular body, then those unfulfilled desires are going to result in another opportunity to transcend them. Paradoxically, we are not the physical body, but we need the contrast of a physical body to see that we are already safe. These desires I'm talking about are simple desires that we all have to feel safe, to feel loved, to feel free, all of those things. So what is it that's coming back? It's just another body appearing inside you. Another body comes and goes. You're not coming back. You could also say that there's a subtle energy form that is the first arising. You could call that a soul or the astral form, whatever. The individuality, but not separateness of you. that then experiences another body and another body until it can free itself. The soul keeps trying to use the body to feel safe. It tries to use its experience in the world to feel safe, to feel loved. And these desires are fulfilled finally when we realize, actually, I'm not the one who was ever unsafe. I am already free. So I'll read the second one. And then I'll go to the questions here. Dearest Helen, straight to the point. How can I, the consciousness that I am, unroot the believed beliefs for so long that I don't deserve, I cannot have. I am unworthy of receiving, etc. I don't deserve to be happy. As a consequence of my own life experience, how I interpret things, and they cause me a lot of pain when I believe them to be true. It comes to me now while I'm writing that these beliefs stem from the major I am bad belief, or from metaphysical guilt, as in A Course in Miracles explains, derived from the false belief that we have indeed managed to separate ourselves from God, the source, or love. If I'm not mistaken, I think you mentioned a long time ago that we have a hard time releasing a belief because while we do want to release it, we are also criticizing, judging, or condemning ourselves for having it. If you could kindly be as specific as you can in your own way in explaining this to me, to us. Thank you for your dedication and service to the truth, for your effort, so we can grasp truth in a speedy way without too much delay, with love and gratitude. So everything that we are struggling with comes from this belief that we are a separate self, as you said, that somehow we split away from the infinite self. And the speediest, most direct way would be to find out what you really are, to inquire, what am I right now? What am I really? And to see that it's formless, infinite, intangible, insubstantial, and indivisible. The most important thing is the recognition of your indivisibility. It's like trying to separate the space in this room. Could you actually pull some space off the rest of it? You can't do it, right? So if you see that you're indivisible as consciousness itself, then literally everything you think has happened since then is proved to be untrue. That I'm a separate being, that I incarnated, that I have a body, all of those things, that I'm not good enough, that I don't deserve to be happy, all of that falls away as you see this clearly. Or to say it another way, to realize, to explore consciousness awareness, as I'm calling it today, called it many things today. It does not have any beliefs, consciousness. If you check it out right now, silence, stillness, presence, the real self, God, love, the noumenon, does it have beliefs it needs to get rid of? Let's just stop a minute and check this out. Awareness, how many beliefs does it have? How many karmic patterns is it trying to get rid of? None at all. It's already free. And this is why the most direct way is always going to be to come back, to keep seeing who you really are already. Who you really are is always free. And any problem that we seem to have, we can bring against this experiential being of awareness and saying, is this my challenge that I have to fix here? Is this my problem to solve? So contemplation, meditation, self-inquiry are only going to bring you to see that you're already free, that this was never your challenge, this was never your problem. So hope that helps. We'll go to Saima first of all.
Hello, Helen.
Hi.
I've been feeling so much gratitude for your teachings lately, and I always appreciate it. I just didn't know I could appreciate it this much. And I listened to a video and you're saying you sometimes you would think that it couldn't get better, and then it would just keep getting better. And that's how I've been feeling, where I just thought, I'm content, like it's fine as it is. And then it's like, oh wow, it could have gotten better, and it is better. And I had a question this morning that I wrote down, and I hope, because I was thinking it will be clearer that way. I wasn't sure if I posted it, I would hear it today. So I'm going to read it.
Okay.
For some reason, you said in one of your recordings, and I'm paraphrasing, maybe so-called enlightened teachers are people who've gotten into the habit of returning their focus to awareness enough times until it's become their default. This really demystified the process for me and made self-inquiry accessible, like getting your reps in instead of doing it perfectly, and voila, enlightenment.
It's just a habit, right?
Yeah. And right now it has become so enjoyable to self-inquire. I couldn't relate to being addicted to meditating, but this I come back to many times a day. There's such a gentle bliss there. When I catch myself experiencing what I can only call as smallness, I ask myself, what is looking? Is it judging? Is it unaccepting? And that usually pierces through the solidity of things until it becomes mush. I love the word for it. Like a beautiful mush, but it's all mush together.
It really is. Yeah, it really is.
And in this, there's nothing serious about it, and a sense of playfulness in this body mind, it seems to be how it expresses itself. So right now, mush feels right for me. And I imagine it must be odd for another experience to hear it, but it's how
It's such a
it's.
powerful word as well, mush. It's a really nice word to say, right? Mush. It feels good. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And
And just
the
pointing to, maybe for everyone else, pointing to when we're looking as the real self, there's just this seamless interconnectivity of everything. Everything kind of just takes on this quality of being the infinite self, because it is, right? It's all just, there's not a room full of objects anymore. There's just
yeah,
a mishmash mush of
whoosh,
everythingness.
mishmash, whoosh. Yeah, I'm glad you can relate, because I was like, oh, this, because there's no sense of how do I call it? Like sometimes when I listen to teachings, I feel like there's this sense of religiosity. I know it's not the right way to say it, but it doesn't feel that way. We're here, it just feels like this beautiful mishmash of mush. And there's sometimes a self-judgment there, like, oh, you should feel like you want to get on your hands, on your knees and pray or whatever, but it doesn't feel that way with me. It's just, yeah,
For me, it just became clear that there's something that the sages had done that I hadn't done enough or consistently, is all, right? And that's where the habit comes back into it. Just what's actually real, to bring attention back to what's actually real. And it comes down to that, right? Will I do that long enough consistently?
mm. So
And
yeah,
everyone gets the same result when they do the same thing.
the challenge is the I sense. Sometimes it seems like that part is observed too, but it lasts just a bit and then it snaps back. It's like everything else is easily seen as this mush, but the I sense is like glutinous, sticky. So even though it is seen through, it quickly pops right back.
So if
And
your experience seems to be changing, can this be your problem? We were just saying, right? Is this, sometimes I can see the I sense, it seems like, and sometimes I can't see it.
mm,
And it seems to be my problem. But you can see that you can see it, and you can also see that you can't see it. You're still the seer, right?
yeah,
You are still seeing. all the time. Sometimes you see the I, the someoneness. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But what is seen is changing, but what is seeing is constant.
Yeah, I feel like part of the meditation addressed that. And so I was wondering, is there like a self-inquiry or maybe nothing to be done and just kind of keeping on?
Just to see the problem that mind suggests is yours, right? Even this problem of the changing of, sometimes I can realize I'm free, sometimes not. Even that, is it happening to awareness? When you look and experience yourself as awareness, do you still have this problem?
Yeah.
No. So when this problem is suggested to you, this is something I have to sort out, you just go, no, thank you. It's not really anything to do with me.
Mm.
If you don't try to fix something that isn't your issue, it will stop happening. It feels to the mind saying you're just denying the problem then. But if we can go with inquiry and satsang, it's always about experiential proof. When I experience myself now as awareness, formless awareness, it has no problems at all. Anything then that seems to happen after that to me that seems to be a problem, including and especially my spiritual problems, I have to go, well, is this still relevant to me? Am I going to take this on as my challenge here to solve?
And well, the mind says, and is a bit resentful, that it feels like the only way to use language and relating with people, it's to keep on reinforcing this I sense.
But
And
I talk like I use the I word all the time. I say, I want a cup of tea. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. I'm holding satsang. But it's just so light and delicious on the edge of my being. It's playful. It's useful even, right?
yeah, I guess that resentment is the thing that
It's
I
not your problem. It really isn't. It's something in the mind.
because it's something, yeah, it's not there until it surfaces and it's made into a problem.
The thing that happens with most of us is, it certainly happened with me, awakening happens and we go, oh my God, I'm already free. And then the mind feels unemployed. So it tries to find a problem. Yes, but what about this? And then it will say, yes, but now you've got too much bliss. You can't actually function. And what are you going to do about that? And then it will say, yes, but you're not going to care about ordinary people. And it will come up with a whole list of yes, buts because it wants to keep its job as chief problem solver. And eventually you're just not really so interested in that. There's nothing wrong with it, but you don't have to keep taking the list of problems from the mind.
Yeah, it's
See
when
it
it's
directly.
problem presented to you, it feels so real. The last one was you won't be able to relate with your partner.
Yep, told you, right? I could write a whole list of seeming problems that happened after awakening. And all of them were proved to be untrue and fell away completely when I stopped trying to solve them. Again, by coming back to what's real, I don't actually have a problem right now. My real self is free. And then the whole manifestation takes its cue from there and rearranges itself to prove how free you are. Just
And be accepted as this beautiful mush, except for
yeah, any problem is just part of the mush, right? Another sculpture you made, a little form you made out of yourself. I can make this problem seemingly appear in this one and this one and this one. But there's just shapes that you're playing with, forms that you're appearing as.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, we go to Angie.
Hi, Helen. My
Hi.
internet isn't great, so I will be brief.
I'm right there with you.
I love what you talked about today, and I've heard you say it before. And so it's a constant background exploration here. I just want to check in with you. Here is kind of on track, and there's not still an identification as attention. So there is a constant checking in here that silence is never absent despite appearances. It's a constant, it's unchanging. There can be an appearance that it's not there. Check in, it's always here, and therefore it has to be what I am myself. Could you comment on that, please?
Yeah, it's very good to double check. Silence is the same as listening. Or listening, as you're listening to me right now, it's the silence that's listening. It's always here. And you can listen to yourself, silence, or you can listen to these words, the appearance of sound, the appearance of form. But no, there's been no time and there's no possibility ever of the silence being absent. And even if we try to find someone who's listening to silence, we wouldn't find them. So just this checking and seeing that silence is always here, always present. It's in fact the presence of silence that helps us hear these words, right? The contrast of silence against these words helps us recognize silence. And just that deep seeing that silence is free, silence is present always, and it can never leave. And it is what I am. And anything other than that is my imagination that gets clearer and clearer, right? As you go into this seeing and seeing and seeing and seeing.
That's brilliant. Helen, that's all I needed to hear. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Lots of love.
Thank you, sweetheart. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Lean?
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, I found it really nice also that you talk about the attention, because I've also been like looking at it since the retreat. Like at the retreat, there was a moment where like there was a moment where it was very clear that I am not the attention, that I could really see there's no one here. And since then, I took this question with me, like, if there's no one here, if there's no, if I'm not the attention, then who am I? And sorry, I'm a bit nervous again for speaking for the cameras.
It's okay. Don't worry.
And it's like sometimes it really opens up and it's like something empty again. But I also noticed that, and I think it's probably a thought or something that, like a thought thinking it's doing something, but like I was like, I thought like if it's like this, then I don't have to move the attention. I don't have to do anything. I'm not sure if that's a thought. But then I noticed there were quite a lot of thoughts, and then I was like, "Oi!" But I'm going to be overwhelmed by thoughts. And then I thought, "Oh no, I have to bring." It becomes a bit complex, but then I, and then I thought, "Oh, and it's better that I do the previous exercise of just coming back to the silence." And so that was a bit something that came up, and also that there was a bit of fear of, even though I think it's not necessary, but I noticed that there was a fear of, just seeing that there's no one here, like a kind of fear came up of later of then I really don't have any control whatsoever. And I think that's probably just the truth, but it does bring up some fear.
So this sense of a separate self seems to be freaking out because it's realizing it has no control. But if it was never there, it never had any control. There's a recognition in this moment of, I'm free. I'm already free. There's just this. And later, we start thinking as a separate self again. And that separate self takes what we've seen and tries to make it into a problem to keep itself alive. Okay, but then I have no control at all. Life's just going to spiral out of control. Everything's going to go wrong. But from the place of truth, we've never had control as a separate being. We've never had it. We've never done anything. We've never changed anything. We've never transcended anything. We've never achieved anything as a separate being. Everything that's happened in our life was what was going to show up anyway, as an outpouring of the infinite awareness. And mind was just thinking it was making that happen along the way. The separate self thinks it was successful at achieving that. So you don't have any control as a separate being because it never existed. And separate self never existed. It's not even dissolving right now.
Mm.
We're only dissolving the capacity to think it was ever there in the first place.
That's quite funny.
So from the infinite awareness of who we really are, you can't really have much more control than being the source of the entire universe. The whole universe is the appearance of your dream, your creation, your play. From there, there's nothing else to have control over. We don't need control in the way that the separate being thinks it needs to control. But all of this is happening. These words are your will, right? This satsang, this subject, everything is happening according to what you want, as you are the infinite everything, just like we all are, but without the all. So there's nothing that we need to have control over. Control is just a illusionary idea that gives us a sense of safety while we think we're a separate being, but we really don't need that anymore as the infinite being. What else would attack you? What else would you feel unsafe from? What else could stop you from getting what you want? Is there anything other than you? And as this realization sinks in, there's a deep relaxation with that. And always and always and only just coming back to what you can prove is true directly, experiencing what is true. There never was a separate being. I can't find it now. Every time I look, it's not there. It's not just gone on vacation. It's like just non-existent. You know, you ran away while we're in retreat and then you came back again afterwards. I'm back. Did you have a good time? Yeah. So just coming back to what you can prove always, right? The simplicity of inquiry. I look and I can't find a separate being. I only find awareness or consciousness, whatever you want to call that.
Yeah, I kind of know it's not true because it was clear enough when I saw it, but yeah, it just, yeah. I don't know how to say it. It seems to be, but
yeah, the things that come up afterwards will be to just check and see, is that still something I need to worry about or fix? Do I would need to worry about a loss of control if it was never there, control in the way that I thought? That whole thing was the illusion, that I was a separate being managing my life. That then just to go, well, that was never what was true, you know, to see and to experience again, still not true. Just to keep coming back to that.
thank you very much.
You're very welcome. These little things will come up again and again, right? Just to confirm after you've had this seeing, okay, is this still something I want to try to fix or need to put any attention on? And that's all that's happening. And it'll give you its favorite list of problems to resolve. So
just to keep on seeing it and keep on confirming.
Yeah, just to look at it and say, well, is that actually true? Because before we just went with it, oh my God, I'm going to lose the control. And that's why the fear is there on some level. I'm giving up something important in this awakening process, says mind. And it seems that way to mind. But from the real self, it's never been a someone, ever. And from there, there just couldn't be a problem because there's nobody else or nothing else to control or be controlled by.
Yeah. It's very relaxing.
It really is. Yeah. Thank you. Wonderful. Abdullah, last but not least.
Hi, Helen, can you hear me?
I can, yep, wonderful.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Uh, okay, my question is about getting things done, working. I'm continuing applying, teaching, and inquiring and seeing who's feeling, who's thinking, but I'm struggling to do it in work. When I want to do something, when I want to do something or work on something, it's like I have like a cycle of doubt. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I want, but I have to do something. And when I want to do something, I get a lot of thought, overwhelmed by thought. Is it? Uh, yeah, I keep thinking about things. I'm not doing anything, just thinking about things. When I want to work on anything, and the doubt come, and I feel like I'm stuck.
So
And
let's
it's been
check.
like,
Let's
yeah.
check and see who you really are. Let's look together now and see, experience, and we can all do this. What am I really? Tell me what you find.
Have sensations in my stomach.
What's aware of those sensations and thoughts?
Me.
Me. And is me a doer? What is me? Is it formless or form?
Sadness is coming.
Sadness, did you say?
Yeah.
What is even sadness? Just for a moment, don't look at what you see, sadness. Look more at what's seeing. Just for now, for me. Sadness is there, but what is seeing it?
Yeah, me.
And who are you?
There is confusion.
Again, you see confusion. You know it's there, right? Confusion, sadness. Tell me about you, not what you see. Tell me about you.
Space.
Yeah.
Watching. The watcher of something.
And do you have any problems here?
No, but there is something pushing. Don't want to say no.
So you see that which doesn't want to admit the truth also, just like you see confusion and sadness, right? It's an energy, it's a resistance, and it's okay. It can be there. But don't identify as it. You can see it. You are the seer. Do you have any problems here?
No.
Have you ever managed to make your life work, or is it just unfolding from here? Have you ever been someone doing this?
No.
So if we've never been someone managing our existence, existence is just happening on its own and will continue to do so. Manifestation will continue to unfold. But without this idea in the way, without this someoneness, this sense of someone being believed in, what do you think is going to happen now without this heavy idea that I have to make this happen? Do you think it's going to get better or worse, your life?
Without the idea that I have to do something. Without the idea that I have to do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, of course, it's going to be better.
And does it matter if mind says it's really going to get worse?
No, but yeah, it's good to feel good, yeah. But when I start to do something, it came this cycle again.
When do you start to do something? You watch the body do something. You watch the mind.
Then who is deciding taking the action?
I don't know. I don't know who's deciding. Or we could say decisions arise spontaneously. Like the decision to put your hand up and ask this question. Can you really prove that you made that happen?
No.
Can you prove that any decision that's ever arisen inside you has ever been your doing?
No, but why I have thousands of thoughts and one of them that wins and decide.
Because we really want what we want, right? We really want to be happy, free, abundant, all of those things, safe. And the missing thing is that mind says, yeah, but how am I going to make sure those desires show up for me? Those things happen if I'm not the doer, right? That's why it keeps coming back. I need to know which work to do to make sure I'm abundant and rich and in spirit and in resources and all sorts. But if you've never been a separate being, then your desires will just continue to unfold. They're not your desires as a separate being, then, are they? They're just desires of the infinite self. This spacious nothingness that you are, when desires arise out of it, do you think anything can stop it from manifesting?
No.
Now say it like you mean it.
There is a little doubt.
It's okay. I'm just poking fun at that. And it's okay, there's a little doubt. So just to really look at that, right? That would be where I'd take inquiry for you. Just to spend some time. If I am not indeed a separate being that has to make my desires manifest, what can stop them from showing up? I had to really look at this myself for a good long while. You see, you're not a separate being that has to make your desires happen. You feel the desire because it's already on its way. It's on its way. Special delivery, next day guaranteed delivery. But we keep not answering the door when the guy knocks on it because we think we have to make it happen. We're too busy in the other room trying to figure out how to make it come. And the guy's knocking on the door saying, here's your abundance.
Yeah. Okay, I remember something. What about planning and having a routine? Because for me, I don't have a job. I'm working for myself.
Are you learning anything? I've only, like we said at retreat, I've only got one answer, right? I'm gonna always keep bringing you back to
Yeah, it's good.
yourself. Yeah. And eventually, You won't even need to vocalize this. You just go, wait a minute, let me just go back to what's real. Am I learning? Am I evolving? Am I forming habits? Am I practicing meditation, or is it just happening inside me? For me, it was a bit of a kick in the pants for the ego, because the realization happened that life would unfold, everything I wanted would come, and that it would happen effortlessly and spontaneously. And that I didn't need to do a single thing to make it happen, because I can't. I am just here. And ego was kind of like, well, that sucks. What am I don't have any problems now, you know?
Yeah, I can see there is something that want to get the credit and want to work hard. And
Has that worked out for you, working hard and striving and struggling? Has that got you everything you want?
no.
Didn't work for me either, right? Because you are
Why is the
effortlessly here.
cringing? Why sometimes the cringing that you want the stubbornness and
Do you have to get rid of that stubbornness, that which wants to do something? Or can you just watch it? Can you get rid of it?
you know
What if it's just a shape you're playing with in front of you? You see some stubbornness, some resistance, some yes butness from the mind, you know? And you're still seeing it, just like sadness and confusion and resistance. It's not going to stop you getting everything you want. Something says, you know, I'm really having a problem accepting what is true. But that's not you either. You're already free. Check again and see, are you free right now?
yes. Yes.
But
There is a but somewhere.
how about we stop at the yes?
Okay, yes.
How does that feel?
It feels now it's not true, but sometimes feel true.
Can that be a real problem for you then?
Yeah,
Is it your job to make it to where it's 100% true all the time? Or instead, can we just come back to see, I don't have these problems, they're not for me.
because every day it come up again, come up again.
Because you keep trying to play with it. Right? Trying to. You can't actually, because you don't have any hands. Right? Awareness. But it keeps coming back because you're interested in it somehow still, right? I have to fix this and solve this.
Yeah.
So when it comes, just let it come and just let it be here, and then it will go. It's like an itch, right? It's like an urge to scratch an itch. I got to do something, got to do something, got to do something. But it's just a sensation. It will come and it will go like every other sensation. You'd be like, wow, for a whole half an hour there, I was convinced I had to make my life work, but then I came back to clarity.
Yeah. And in this area, I'm still sometimes, yeah, I have, but still I don't have so much clarity. But yeah, I can sense, yeah.
One of two things is going to happen after this conversation, right? One of them is that you will go back to trying to fix this and find out what the right thing to do is. And it will fail again and again and again. And then you'll come at some point to the realization, I can't do anything. Or you'll stay with this and you'll make it the most important thing to remember. I don't need to do anything. I can't do anything. It's all happening inside me.
Sometimes it feels like I'm fooling myself when I say that, because it's like an excuse of not doing anything.
But you're not doing anything anyway. Don't confuse yourself with the body,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Mind is never going to understand that. It's going to think you are the body. It will say you should do something. Get on with it. Stop lazing around. But you are the infinite vastness in which the cosmos appears. You literally cannot do anything. Write it down and look at it every time you feel the urge to do something about your work. Have a look at this piece of paper, right?
Yeah. This is the only work, maybe.
The only area. And it's because you want to provide for those that depend upon you, and it's okay. Of course, you want to make sure you've got enough. But the best way to make sure is to realize you're not doing anything at all. The body will move spontaneously, and so will the mind. And you'd be like, wow, look at that. They did all that by themselves.
So, yeah, so it will happen by itself, right? If I
It
stop
always has done.
Yeah.
Decisions will
Because
arise and belong to nobody. Actions will happen. Abundance will be received by nobody and experienced, enjoyed by nobody. Just like it's always been. You're only seeing it clearly now is all the difference. Wonderful.
thank you so much. That was
Thank you.
very
Your question is probably everybody's question, right? So it's good. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, there's a beautiful place to leave it for today. Thank you for all your intelligent questions and the ones that you sent in and asked here today. Thank you. Namaste. Wonderful.